Morning, folk. I've been making a few 4-inch smoothers, not many, 2 or 3, out of different timbers. I just wanted to give you some measurements and some angles. This is one I made years ago, and this is one I'm going to make out of boxwood. Again, the proportions of this particular plane is 4 inches long, 1.5 inch wide, 1 7/8 inch deep, and I've set it out ready to do. So I wanted to give you these measurements. On the top of the plane, where the mouth, this line here is 3/4 inch from the front. Turn it upside down. These two lines are 1 inch and 1.25 inch. That's for the mouth. Then on the sides, when you've set your mouth out, this particular plane, 45 degrees for the bed angle. You draw a line across. Then I've done, that's 45. This is for the wedge, 8 degrees more. So that's 53, 45, yeah, 53. That line there. The line for the top of the wedge goes to the front of the mouth. When you've done those two lines, as I've explained, you take them across, then a little gap there is for the escapement of the shavings. This line here is 65 degrees, and I've used 65 degrees there. Just so that you can set it out. When you've drawn them across, well, first of all, the width of the iron is 1 inch. So, these two lines is the width of the wedge. That's 1 inch as well, same as the bottom. And that 1 inch line there goes to that point there to get that chamfered look. Then I've allowed 1/8 inch thereabouts for holding the wedge in. So that's what these lines are. And that line goes right the way up to the front. This is for chiseling out. And then you take the same width as I've explained, 1 inch back to those points there to give you that. Right. Again, I've used 1 inch, same width as the mouth, will be the overall width of the front of the plane. These will be the chamfers at a later date. And the back, I've taken to 7/8 width, that's 7/8 there. Then, I've drawn round the bottom of this plane to get that curve from there to there. Then when you start to, incidentally, the wedge will be 4 inches long. I like to get something like the overall depth of a plane, 1 7/8 inch, to roughly somewhere near the amount of timber projecting above the top of the planes. That's 4 inches. Right. And when you start, you draw a right angle to the bed line, put it in the vise. This is how I do it anyway. Can you just stand over there a minute? Because I've got to get over here. Can you go over there a minute? Got to get this line upright. I do it by eye. That's upright. Vertical. Then I chisel out the bird's mouth. That's right angled to the bed. Just to get a flat surface there. And a bit down there following this line here, which will be the front of the mouth. Then I mark 2 or 3 or 3 or 4 centre points with this for the drill. You're drilling into end grain, and it's not exactly end grain as it would be like that. It's at an angle, the end grain, and I find out that when you start to drill these holes, after you've marked them with a brad hole, every one I've ever made, because of the way the grain is, when you put your drill in, it has a tendency to drill towards the mouth, making little marks here. So be very wary of that when you start. It's going to try and go that way, the drill. And I drill down a depth, or it doesn't matter what depth it is, as long as it comes down here somewhere, so that when you're chiseling out, you eventually come to these holes you've drilled, and you know you're near the bed line then, you don't go too far down. And that's how I do it. I thought that might help you. These are quite tricky to make. They sound simple, but in boxwood or other hardwoods, I use rosewood and all that, they are quite difficult to make. Best part of 3 days' work in my condition. I'm an old man now, but I wasn't much faster in my youth. But somebody emailed the other day and wanted to make a metal plane for the first time ever. He'd got a lot of disabilities in his health and that, and I told him to try and make a 4-inch smoother first before he attempted metal, because it is a bit easier, but they are quite tricky. And if you're very careful, you'll get a beautiful detail in boxwood like this plane. It's the most wonderful timber to make planes out of. I've told you many times before. I made one the other day in yew, which is actually a softwood, but it's blooming hard. The end grain was terribly hard, but it's not suitable for plane making. But I like to mess about with different timbers. I've made a rosewood, and in the past I've used bog oak and various timbers. But the best of all, in my opinion, to make a plane is boxwood. Hope you achieve it.